Plessy versus Ferguson, 1896. Plessy versus Ferguson is a milestone United States Supreme Court case that kept segregation alive. Even after the Civil Rights Acts of 1866 and 1875 and the 14th Amendment, discrimination against African Americans persisted. Whites, mostly Southerners who, for hundreds of years, thought of blacks as slaves and chattel to be used but not respected as human beings, found it difficult to change their way of thinking. By 1890, all Southern states had passed laws segregating public transportation. In Louisiana, where the Plessy case originates, there were separate railway cars for blacks.
There was a moment in American history where black people were on the verge of claiming some basic political rights. What Louisiana law of 1890 reflects, however, is a return to a vicious kind of racist segregation, a kind of physical segregation of the races which didn't ever exist even under slavery.
But now, laws were passed throughout the South segregating blacks and whites. Howard Plessy deliberately got himself arrested to test the constitutionality of the law.
Howard Plessy is 1/8 African American. It's ironic that he becomes the name Plessy is synonymous with separate but equal, and an attempt to subvert the spirit of the law. And Plessy himself, the irony is he could have easily boarded a railroad car and sat in the white section and nobody would have ever been the wiser. This, however, is a test case. And Plessy, with the support of some groups that were interested in seeing separate but equal die, had Plessy go into a railroad station and buy a first-class ticket on a rail car. He goes there and sits in the white section, and again, it's not clear from the record how this all happens, but he encourages his arrest and is arrested for violating the statute of separate but equal in the state of Louisiana.
It's, in a sense, a test case as to whether a state legislature can pass a law segregating the races physically.
He is the predecessor of Rosa Parks. He does much the same thing. Boards a vehicle in which he's prohibited from using.
What's the argument against that? Well, the argument against it was the 14th Amendment. The 14th Amendment, recall, was that amendment passed to extend civil rights to black people after the Civil War. 13th freed them, the 14th extended them rights. The first clause of the 14th Amendment says, states cannot pass laws depriving persons within their jurisdiction of the privileges and immunities of the United States. States cannot deprive persons within their jurisdiction of life, liberty, and property without due process of law. Famous. And the third of those clauses, states cannot deprive persons within their jurisdiction of equal protection of the laws. You can't have one set of laws for black people and another set of laws for white people. So you would think, well, what happened to those protections? Those three fundamental protections of black people against state action. Well, they were gone.